The book,
The book.
Journey of a Sister. That's what it says on here. I
Yes.
met this sister on the train on a journey. It was the journey of a sister.
And a brother.
It was a journey of a sister and a brother. The two of us on a journey. And in fact, I met you twice in the same place. Brixton Tube Station.
Spooky.
Spooky.
In the same week.
In the same week at the same place going into Brixton Tube Station. So, it was the universe.
So it was like destined that I come and do this interview.
So it meant something, so I guess that's what it meant. We were supposed to do something together. And in fact, thinking about it, I actually met you outside Brixton Tube Station once.
And around in Brixton. Probably because you live in Brixton.
I never thought of that.
And I go through Brixton.
You go through Brixton, even though you're not from Brixton.
No.
But you go through Brixton a lot.
Yeah.
But anyway, I met sister with a huge case.
Full of books.
When I go on holiday, when I go abroad, I don't even carry a case that big. This suitcase was massive. It was about up here.
No, that's exaggeration.
Trust
that's
me.
exaggeration.
It was up here. And it must have been full of bricks or something because I saw...
You feel how heavy the book is though.
Was it full of books?
Yes. What did you think it had in it?
So I felt obliged to help sister down the stairs with it. But after I started pulling that thought,
I shouldn't have.
maybe I shouldn't. But tell me, what was that all about?
That's the grind. That's called the grind. Yes.
Talk to us about the grind.
Yeah,
sister,
getting these
journey.
books out. My intention is to get this book out to as many people as possible because everybody who's read the book has given me such rave reviews on it. They buy them for their friends, and I just want to get as many books out as possible. So the book will help you on your journey in life. That's why I retitled it Journey of a Sister. It was originally titled Single, Spiritual and Sexual.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing.
So this is a revised edition of that book.
Right.
So what happened was the first edition came out in 2011. And honestly, I had so many people inboxing me, writing to me, telling me how the book had really helped them on their journey, how, it was like I was telling their story and brothers. Yeah. And I thought when I changed it to this title, because so many people kept saying it helped them on a journey, I thought maybe guys might want to read it. But then if you want to know your sister's journey, and also it's the story of the main character, there's two main characters, Charles and Cezanne. So it's both of their journey, really.
So Charles and Cezanne.
Charles and Suzanne.
Is Suzanne Cezanne?
Suzanne is Suzanne. Cezanne is Cezanne.
So there is no... This is not you.
There is a little... I would say about 20% of the book is like based on my own her story of, for instance, the first chapter talks about being raised in a religion. And so
Which
really,
you were.
Yeah. And so the reason I even wrote the book was to share everything I'd discovered since asking God for the truth. So in 2007, I was at a point in my Christian walk where I was questioning a lot of what I'd been taught to believe. So I asked God for the truth. I wrote God this letter, which I never intended to share with anyone else.
Is it in the book?
Yeah.
Okay.
In pieces.
Okay.
I mean, it was a long letter. When I recorded it, it was 20 minutes long.
Oh, you recorded the letter, not you read the letter.
I recorded it, but it's not online. I may put it back online.
Okay.
So bits and pieces of it are in the story.
Right.
Where she was writing a letter to God.
Wow.
Not the whole letter though, but it actually forms the foundation of the book. Because when I started writing the book and I got that voice saying, include the letter in the story, and I was like, are you sure? Because I know that people might think it's quite blasphemous. I'm actually questioning God. But I was at that point where I was thinking, well, God can see what's in my heart and thoughts anyway. So I can't hide anything from you. So I may as well just be. And that was the kind of relationship I had with, God.
But just to let people know who don't know what was in that letter, can you give us just a little overview?
Well, basically, she was just questioning the whole...
She or you?
She, Suzanne. Don't make me laugh. I've got a cracked rib.
It's them big suitcases you're carrying. That's why you got a cracked rib. Anyway, continue.
Okay. So I wrote the letter, but it formed because it's going to make people think that the whole story is about me, which is not true. Because I also used the story to stretch my imagination to its limit. Because part of what I was learning after asking God for the truth was that my thoughts are creative and that I can create my future with my thoughts, words, and actions. So the story was an exercise in stretching my imagination to its limit.
So the letter you're going to say.
Yeah, the letter. Okay.
Dear God. Did
Dear
you start
God.
like that? You did?
Did I start, Dear God? Dear Father in heaven.
Okay.
That's how I started it. I come before you it was like that.
Okay.
I have recorded it, but it was ages ago.
Yeah.
So literally, she was questioning the whole, why her life was the way it was, and the whole state of the world. Because when God created the heavens and the earth, it was for us to come, to live in peace and harmony and joy and abundance. So why was I living a life of lack when that's not what I was created for?
Okay. You felt that your life was lack?
At the time, yeah.
Okay.
And I was just questioning the root cause. I was trying to get to the root cause.
Was you blaming anyone?
Of course.
You blaming God, wasn't it? Oh, wow.
Because the letter was talking about the whole fall of mankind story. And went right back to Adam and Eve and how God had created these two people and put them in this garden with this tree in the middle of the garden, which where they were not allowed to touch. And because, and why would you, I was saying, well, in the letter, she was saying, why would you put a tree in the middle of a garden, right in the middle, it's like in the table.
Up front.
Yeah, and then say, don't touch it.
Touch it.
And then she gave an example that if she put a handful of sweets in the middle of the table and told her children not to eat them, it would only be a matter of time before those sweets started disappearing down their throats.
But isn't that what we do though?
Yeah.
Isn't that what we do as parents? I mean, we're not put the sweets on the table. We put them in the cupboard. We say, don't go in that cupboard. Don't touch them cashew nut.
But if you leave them there long enough, eventually they will, they will take the risk of whatever punishment they would have to suffer later just for that moment of pleasure. And that's what she was saying in the letter. And so, the letter went on and on and on, really, pondering the whole Adam and Eve story, and then the fight that is supposedly going on between God and the devil, that we as humans are just caught up in the middle of, and we're taking the blame when we're like just pawns in the middle of this whole fight. It's not nothing to do with us. And why isn't God protecting us from this tyrant who's going around on the earth and causing all this damage? If you're meant to be our spiritual father, why aren't you protecting us? Why are you making us feel bad about being tempted by this devil who we didn't even create? You created him. You're supposed to take responsibility.
Okay.
So yeah.
So when you wrote that letter.
And funnily enough, after she wrote the letter in year one, the following morning, so she went to sleep after writing the letter, and then the following morning she woke up and God responded.
How?
So she got up and she wrote a poem. It was called Look to Me. And that was the very first poem I ever wrote.
And that was the answer coming through the poem?
It was like the answer, but it didn't really happen like that in real life, but in the story.
That's artistic license. We can do that. That's how we roll.
So in the story, the following morning she woke up and God replied in this really beautiful poem called Look to Me. And literally all God was saying was, don't look at your situation, look to me. You can do all things through me. I am the way. And the other thing that he was saying in that poem when I wrote it in 2001 was, I am the way that makes crooked paths straight. I am the key that unlocks the doors. I am the great I am. And at the time, I didn't get the revelation of what God was actually saying there. It was years later, after I left church, after asking God for the truth, and I started learning about the creative power of my mind and your thoughts, words and actions, the creative process, and then learning the power of I am, your I am statements, that anything following I am is creative, and we have the same creative power as God. So God said, let there be light, and there was light. But we have that same creative power through the power of our I am statements.
Okay.
So anything following I am is creative, whether it's positive or negative.
Wow. Because a lot of people see creativity as only a positive force, but I like the way you balance that.
Yeah,
positive
the power of life and death is in the tongue.
Right, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So how long did it take for that, what was written, to be revealed in the way that you revealed it right now?
Yeah, I mean, it was years later. Because at the time I was a Christian when I wrote that poem in 2001. And I didn't get the revelation of the I am until maybe like 2007, 2008.
Okay. So you actually left the church.
I'd already left the church.
You'd already left.
Yeah.
And was getting hate mail from people who were still there.
Yeah, literally. Your Christian friends, oh, you've backslidden, or you're no longer one. It's like you kind of get banished.
But didn't you explain to them about, you was on this journey and it's questioning, you've got to do certain things to,
Yeah,
grow and
all the
develop.
questions that I asked God in the letter was answered after I left.
But your what I'm saying is your colleagues at the time, they didn't understand that.
No, they still don't understand.
still?
Because they think that you've backslidden.
Wow.
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 And in a way, I guess I had, in terms of the Christian faith, they would say, well, you've backslidden because you no longer go to church. Oh, and they also assume that because you're no longer going to church, that you no longer have a relationship with God.
Okay. And
So
how
my
did you
relationship with God was developed outside of church anyway.
So what I'm saying is, the people that you know or knew then, do you still have a relationship with them?
No.
don't?
Even my very best friend, who I considered my best friend out of all my Christian friends, even they stopped talking to me after a while.
God.
Because it's like we would get into these arguments, disagreements over the faith and my new belief system and all of that. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm guessing, well, I say guessing because I know the answer really, but I'm guessing that had to do with the change of the title from spiritual, sexual.
Single, spiritual and sexual.
Because
right.
I could imagine that rubbing up people in the church.
No, because I wasn't really marketing the book to church people. I was, because by then I had left the church and I'd gone into the Black conscious community. Okay. So I was really promoting the book in the Black conscious community and online.
Yeah, but obviously people from church must have seen it. They must have.
Actually, I revised the book for the church market.
You revised this one?
Yeah.
For the church market?
Yeah.
Okay. With the title?
Yeah.
Okay.
Faith, love and sex. I mean, the whole thing is, you can't deny that there's a struggle going on with Christians who are not married, because this is what my struggle was as a Christian, was that being single, didn't really have any desire to get married.
You didn't?
No. I got engaged when I was 21.
Yeah.
But the thought of getting married just didn't appeal to me.
What happened?
I didn't get married.
Why? Did you
and he was
decide
a really
not to?
lovely guy as well.
You decided to not get married?
Yeah.
And broke the man's heart, didn't you?
Oh, don't say that. Don't put it like that.
We'll skip over this bit. God.
But the point is that there's so many young Christians in the church who struggle with their belief and their natural desires to want to have sex.
Okay.
So even though I was having sex outside of marriage, I was still developing my relationship with God. I remember when I got pregnant with my first son and I was like, oh my God, I've blown it now. Everybody's going to know I've had sex,
Even though they're having it too.
Yeah, but that's the whole reason of the book, is to bring it all out in the open. It's not, it's like a taboo subject, but it shouldn't be, because these are real struggles and real issues that are faced with church members.
Well, everybody, not just church members.
Yeah, but it's worse for you if you're indoctrinated to think that it's a sin to have sex outside of marriage.
So what's your stance on that? Because I know that is a very contentious, as you said in the church, having sex outside of marriage is a sin. What understanding did you come with that? Is it a sin? Is it wrong? Is it?
Well, the thing is, if you were never told something was wrong, you wouldn't think it's wrong.
True.
So even the thing to do with masturbation, I wrote a blog about this. We were told that even if you masturbate, that's wrong. Because you're going to be thinking about things to do with sex, and that's wrong. So I was saying in the blog that I don't remember anybody showing me how to masturbate or seeing it, reading about it in a book or seeing it on TV, but somehow, so to me it's a natural thing to do, to explore your body. But religion suppresses your sexual energy, and sexual energy is especially for us as people of colour, we're naturally sexual people and we're naturally spiritual people. But religion separates sex from spirituality.
Okay.
So they're saying that if you're religious, you can't be sexual if you're not married, you know? And if you're sexual, you can't be spiritual.
So
but that's not true.
Okay.
So I found that with my job is to put the two
together.
back together again,
Let's,
as it's supposed to be.
Let's get your understanding of the word spiritual, because I hear people talk all the time, spiritual. What do you mean when you say spiritual?
Well, to break down the word spirit, ritual, that's literally what it means. Ritual, to have ritual with spirit. So it's a ritual is like a daily practice. So to me, that just means having daily communion with spirit. The
spirit force, the ancestor spirit, or you're talking about?
Could be ancestral, it could be the creative, you know, the supreme being, you know.
Okay.
Because I know that as a young Christian, even though I was having sex outside of marriage, I was still developing my relationship with, as we were taught to call it, God. But I find that that's just such a limiting description. I prefer to just say pure creative love, because that was my experience of it.
Okay.
So no matter what I did, you know, God just expressed himself or herself as pure unconditional love. That was my experience of God.
Okay. So
you know, God never punished me for anything at any time. I'd say sometimes I'd be like, why do you keep blessing me like this? I don't deserve it. Because that's what another thing we've been taught to believe is that we don't deserve it.
Okay.
You know, and that's a programming.
So you went from blaming God to saying, why are you giving me all this stuff? We not deserve it. When God was saying that in the first place, then you told him off and wrote a letter. Did you write another letter apologising? You never wrote that one, did you?
I did after, I did apologise.
Okay.
After he gave me that poem, Look to Me, because that was the very first poem I ever wrote, Look to Me, and it features in year 1, and it's also on my YouTube, Cezanne Poetess.
Okay.
And then God, you know, it's called prophetic poetry, where I was just writing messages
coming
from God.
through you,
Yeah. And they were just personal to me at first, but then I would put them on my wall at home. And my Christian friends would come round and read it, and they'd be so touched, they'd be asking for copies. So I ended up starting to sell them as posters. And but then as my spiritual journey and my personal development evolved, my poetry evolved with it. So in this book, there's 13 poems. It's a compilation of 13 of my poems. I've got about 30 online, but 13 of them feature in the story.
Okay. Cool.
And the very first one is a Christian poem, and then it evolved.
And you're a very creative person, because of what you might not know, his sister does the illustrations as well. And you talked about posters. You got some artwork down here.
Yeah.
What are they, paintings, drawings?
These are paintings. So at one point, these are like a creative expression of my journey. So at the time that I painted these paintings in 2009, it was between 2009 and 2010, I was learning how to meditate. So literally what happened was, you see this one here, one night I was about to fall asleep, and this image just flashed in my mind. And funnily enough, I'd just been led to buy a drawing pad. So I had the drawing pad by my bed, and I drew it, and then painted it.
Is that you?
No.
It's Suzanne.
No.
Not Cezanne. No.
Oh, that's true. It could be Suzanne, actually, yeah. So I drew it, and then I painted it. And not long after this, I started learning how to meditate. So this painting here is about it's symbolic of your thoughts being the seeds and your mind being the garden. So you can, your thoughts can, your thoughts can either be rooted in love or fear. So that's the two roots that all thoughts can either come from, is love or fear. There's no other place for them to come from. So by learning to plant your thoughts in love,
Guarantees.
you can have a garden of, you know, beautiful flowers instead of weeds. So the analogy is that you uproot negative thoughts, which are weeds, and you replace them with positive thoughts. So if you have a negative thought, you have to uproot it before it can take root, nip it in the bud, and replace it with a positive thought. So for instance, if you think, oh, I feel really sick today, you might uproot that and say, I feel good, or I am well, you know? So that's a way of reprogramming your subconscious mind.
Weeds always get a bad rep. What's wrong
Do you
with
like weeds? Do you like weeds?
I used to not like them, but now, recently, since I've been expanding
all your
my
flowers
horizons,
died.
there's some weeds, what we consider to be weeds or stinging
that
nettles
have
and
flowers.
things like that,
Yeah.
they have use, you know, so...
Well, you know those ones that
Not
if you
weeds,
just leave
but
your garden and they just start and they
taking
go
over.
round
Yeah.
and they... Those ones are the ones that you have to just...
uproot them up.
Yeah, because they will just choke your flowers.
Okay.
And then you'll end up with a...
And that's symbolic of
So this is
life as
symbolic
well.
of your mind, which is a garden. And this is your solar plexus. So by how you feel, this is your solar plexus. You can tell this is your core. So if you're feeling good, you can generally know that you're thinking something positive.
Okay.
So if you feel bad, you know it's because you're thinking something bad, because your thoughts create your feelings.
Right. So you're actually controlling
by how you feel, you'll
Right.
know that and then that's how you'll get yourself back on track.
Okay. What about this one here?
This one is called Black Orchid. This one's on display. In fact, both of these, in fact, all three of them are currently on display at Katakata in Brixton.
Say the address.
It's 132 Brixton Hill. I'm going to be there on Sunday, the 26th of November, 2017. But the last event I'm doing for this year. All of these paintings are actually going on auction. So if you're interested
How much? It's auction. There's no
price.
price.
There's a price, but it's all nearest offer. So whatever people offer me for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
What sort of offers do you get?
Well, this one is the original is on offer at £250. It's gone really down.
£2.50.
250. This one is 450. They're quite big though.
Yeah.
And then this one is 750, and
Wait.
this one's really big.
This
It takes up the whole
This
wall.
is the one, man.
Yeah, but
So it's not this one here.
Offer.
It's not this one. Is it this one here, or you have another one?
These are prints of the originals. So the original is
The original's
this big.
bigger, okay.
Yeah, it's much bigger.
These are just prints, people.
These are prints, but you can also come and get prints this on Sunday. Okay.
I like this one here as well.
Oh, that one's called
one.
Black Butterfly. This one was originally the cover of the first edition
Yes,
of my
that's
book,
right, I remember that.
Single, Spiritual and Sexual. So you can still get that one as well.
Yeah. So
then-
how much for this one?
Black Butterfly
How
is
much
not
for
for
this
sale.
one? What? What?
Is he going to buy it though?
Maybe. Depends what the price is, isn't it?
You can get prints.
This one. So how much for the prints?
The prints are just £10.
So these are the
Yeah,
prints.
yeah.
Okay. £10, people.
Yeah.
Support.
And you put them in a frame and they come up really nice.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
nice. I like that one.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to paint something like this?
When people ask me that question, because there's a process before I even start painting. Like for instance, this one, I was actually in a meditative state when I painted it.
What does that mean?
Like I was just zoned out.
Your eyes was closed.
It
It was in the dark.
I don't know, because I remember standing...
Did your eyes roll
it's
over?
like... I just remember standing back after I painted the wings and thinking, wow, did I do that? You know?
Okay.
So it's like
it's
I
an
was just
out-of-body thing.
yeah, you're just kind of in a zone.
Okay. Wow.
And all of these are like stuck on diamantes, and the stars are stuck on diamantes, you know?
Did you do art in school?
I did,
Okay.
yeah. But then I didn't do any art, or I didn't do anything for about 20 years. I was like a blocked writer and artist for about 20 years.
Because you couldn't think of anything, or you
No, because it was just like a mental block. And when I went through this process of unblocking, I just painted all these paintings, did all this poetry, wrote the books.
Damn.
And yeah.
And this one?
Oh, this one.
This
It's called
one,
My
this one.
King. All of them feature in the book.
My King.
Yeah.
Not Mike King.
Don't.
I'm here to answer the questions.
My King.
My King.
Or
So this...
you can also get it saying My Queen as well, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so explain what's happening in this picture.
She's giving him a massage.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, do I? You look like he's
I think
enjoying
she's
it
giving
too.
him a massage, and he's really relaxed.
Okay.
He's safe in her arms, you know.
Wow. And you know what? We don't give each other massages these
Yeah.
days. You know, that's why I didn't know what was going on in the picture. we don't give
There's
each
a
other
poem
massage.
that goes. Most of my paintings have poems that go.
I hope you ain't gonna cause me trouble, camera, because it does this to mess me up.
I've never seen your hair out by
Let me
that.
see my hair out. It's only certain people see my hair. You know? It's only certain and uncertain. Anyway, the music. Wait, what I was saying is, you'd already decided to write a poem, or somebody was just there playing some music, or did you ask him to?
The whole process was organic. So I liked this particular brother's music, and they were just sitting there on his dictaphone. So I decided to write lyrics to them to help him get the music out.
Right.
So I was listening to the music while looking at the painting, and then I wrote the lyrics.
Okay. Do you remember?
So the preparation is all about sharing energy. So if you can see, there's like a little aura going on there. So it's about sharing energy. So if, for instance, your partner, in the preparation, it starts off with him coming in. So it says, picture this, he's just come in from work, he's tired, he's stressed out. All he wants to do is get with his woman, but she says, you know, and then she goes into this thing where she says, you're not ready for me, because he's coming with all this negative energy that he's picked up throughout the day.
Okay.
So you can't just join himself. And that's what women need to do, is that you shouldn't just allow a man to just come on you when he's got all this negative energy that he's picked up from the day outside and on the battlefield.
Bad spirit.
So by giving him she gives him and it's part of the story as well. I think it's in year 2, the scene that this picture is based on, where he comes in from work and he's really tired and stressed out, and she goes and runs him a bath. You know, she puts all this aromatherapy in it. She washes him down, and then she gives him a massage, and then he was ready. You know.
Me don't know that. It's all good. The lost art.
Yeah, it is an art. It's actually an ancient African art, because apparently somebody explained to me after that that's what they used to do. Like when the man come in from the battlefield, they would have to prepare them, you know, before they let them just come in, you know.
Wow. So how did you learn all of that? Or
It's
did
all
you know
channeled.
that?
It's channeled. You know, that's the only way I can.
You didn't learn that when he was in church, sort of thing, or did you?
No, definitely not.
No, because there's some serious, you know, lyrics, not just lyrics, but ways, lifestyle.
The preparation,
we don't know anything about that.
And it is an art, the art of massage and sharing energy. So if your partner is tired and stressed out or drained of their energy, you should be able to share your energy with them, get them back up, and then when it's your turn, you know, that's a way of sharing energy. So you're not supposed to be draining each other's energy. You're supposed to share energy and keep yourselves balanced.
Yeah, you were saying something about this book when we met on the train, that you was having problems producing it, but it's a beautiful book. The pages are beautiful. The quality of the paper. I mean, I noticed stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's really funny because I saw that as a bad thing at first, because originally,
Explain.
yeah, because I have, as I said, I had these printed at the printers with my artwork in colour, and it was only the pages with the artwork that was meant to be glossy, but the printers did them all glossy.
They did the whole page, the whole thing.
So it's really heavy.
And she was angry.
I was like, what? And the whole reason why I told them not to do that is because I wanted the book to be light, because you've got to put it in the post, and you know, but...
And that's why that suitcase weighs a ton.
It weighs a ton because the books are so heavy.
They're heavy, but it's good quality, you know, it just feels... I just like the feel of it. I'm not reading anything.
I gave you the book last week because you'd already
You know how much
that.
people try and take this book off me? She gave me the book one day. My daughter tried to take it. And another brother tried to take it. I have to hide this book. But
you can let them read it. You can borrow it.
Yeah, but if they read it, they ain't going to want to give it back. So.
I do find that people will buy them once they've read it, they'll buy for their friends, you know, family, because it is a book that we need to read. I've just shared everything that I learned since asking God for the truth. I really just wanted to get this information out. So it covers things like, for instance, our African ancestry, the history of the religion that I was indoctrinated into, not all of them, but to be honest, it does cover all of them because they were all taken from the same manuscripts. You know, they were all taken from the same ancient manuscripts. So, like for instance, I was 35 before I discovered that my roots were in Africa. Because being brought up...
I thought you were 16.
Being brought up in the faith, we were just taught that we don't need to know anything about it. Because remember, our ancestors, like I'm the descendant of an enslaved African. So we were indoctrinated into a religion and our names were taken away,
You didn't watch Roots?
Culture. I did, but when I watched Roots, I talked about that in there actually, I didn't relate those people as my ancestors.
Wow.
It was just like I was watching a film about some Africans, but don't forget I didn't consider myself African. So I didn't relate to that as my ancestors because I never knew I was the descendant of an enslaved African.
So what happened to make you make that connection then?
That's it. After asking God for the truth, it's like, okay, you want to know the truth? Okay, go that way. You know, and so I left the church. It was a longer story than that. I'm writing about this in my next book. But I went into the Black Conscious community, and that was real. And I did a year Black History course with Robin Walker.
Okay.
I just did a lot of research on my own.
I mean, I know sometimes, even like after watching Roots, it had a bad effect on me. You know, when you hear all that truth and you know the truth, and sometimes it can make you really
angry.
Angry. Did that happen to you?
Well, I watched Roots when I was younger, and so as I said, it didn't really affect me like that.
No, I'm talking about when you went through
Yeah, when I watched Sankofa.
Okay.
And that film broke me. I was just crying and snot running down my face.
Yeah, you know, once the snot comes, that's it. Everything's done. When it's
and snot. That night, I said to my ancestors, I just said, what can I do to help my people heal?
Yeah.
And the following morning, I had my recording equipment set up at the time. So the following morning, I went onto my equipment and I recorded a song. Before I wrote it, it was another track of Theo's. I just wrote this poem called We Belong Together. So it's just explaining why we as the black woman are so angry and, you know, as they say, it's because there's things buried in our DNA that we haven't dealt with, you know. So I began to see a lot of the issues that we have in our community, how they relate to slavery, you know, that we're still suffering the effects of it psychologically. So
can you give us a bit of that poem?
We
Putting
belong
you on
together.
the spot now.
Yeah, that one, I've never performed it.
Never. See, it's an exclusive right here.
And it's not even.
It's not in
it's
here.
Not even in there.
It's not in the book.
But it is on. Yeah, okay.
Do you remember some of it? Go on, go. You need beatbox.
Why did you have to ask me to do that poem? That's the only one I don't know. I'll do the preparation.
So you do the preparation, okay. See? Preparation. See, proper preparation
yeah,
prevents
and if you
poor
go
performance.
on YouTube, Cezanne Poetess, Cezanne Poetess, on YouTube, all of the poems that are featured in the book will be on there pretty soon.
The preparation.
As you walk in, I can feel your passion rising. But you're not ready for me. See, you're still carrying the negative energy you picked up along the way during your day. Why are you looking at me like that? So let me run you a bath and help you wash all your troubles away. I don't have it.
I was enjoying that.
Yeah, it kind of goes like that.
Oh, that's nice, man. So they're online. They're all online.
Yeah.
So,
and on my SoundCloud as well, Cezanne Poetess.
You used to do a CD, didn't you?
Yeah, there used to be a CD with the book. I've stopped doing that because a lot of people don't really have CD players anymore.
Old technology.
So I'm just putting them all on YouTube now.
Okay.
And you can just go and listen
What's
to
your
them there.
YouTube link?
Cezanne Poetess.
Poetess.
And then also SoundCloud, Cezanne Poetess.
Where'd that name come from, Cezanne?
Cezanne. Oh, do you want that story?
Yeah, I do.
Because it's not my birth name, but I did
Okay.
change my name
To Cezanne.
officially to Cezanne.
Okay.
So I told you I was a blocked writer and artist for over 20 years. But when I was in school, I must have been about 14. And I was doodling on the back of my textbook, just doodles. And the name actually appeared in the doodles. Yeah.
Wow. You're organic girl.
Yeah. And so for all those years that I was a blocked writer and artist, that name just was there in the back of my mind. And then when I was going through the process of unblocking, there was a book that I was using called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. That's the book I credit with helping me to unblock. And so what she was saying was that it's like you have to nurture your inner child and allow your inner child to grow and nurture and develop. So I had to name my inner child. And so that was the name that came back to me, to name my inner child.
Okay. And
Yeah.
the inner
So
child.
do you want to hear that poem?
Yeah, go ahead. Go.
Okay.
Go.
So the very first poem that I wrote, one of the very first poems that I wrote when I unblocked as a writer was this poem, My Artist Child. And the very first painting that I did was called My Artist Child. And I don't have that one with me, actually. I always leave her at home.
All right.
Anyway, Cezanne, my artist, is a child. I call to her and she answers me with a poem, a dance and a squiggle diddy. She loves to be free, my artist, free to explore her creativity with no limitations or boundaries. So what's stopping her? Me. Yes, me, the adult, constrained in what I can see, stuck in my blocks and adult mentality. Making me laugh.
This is serious stuff.
Stuck in my blocks and adult mentality. You can't do that, I scold as she tries. Sorry, you're making me laugh. You can't do that, I scold as she tries to break free. I want to paint, she says. No, I reply, frightened of what she may tell of me as she paints away freely. I want to write, she cries. No, I squeal at the thought of my thoughts on paper she may reveal. I want to dance, she pleads. No, my senses scream. At your age, start to prance. Please, can I sing? She begs. She wants to paint. She wants to write. She wants to dance. She wants to sing. How can I deny my artist child these things? How can I refuse her the right to be free to express her creativity? So I give her the paints and the time of day. I give her the dance classes she's always craved. I allow her to write when her spirit takes and to sing. Yes, to sing with the voice that God gave. I take her out on our artist's date and feed her images for her to relate back to her play, work day. Now, my child, go and create.
Wow. Woo! Wow. You know, that relates to everybody. Because we have that child inside, but we stifle.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
sometimes kill that child.
Yeah.
Spiritual infanticide.
Yeah,
wow, that is deep. I like that. Wow.
And it kind of explained that process of, it was really hard to let my inner child free. So after I wrote that book, because there was times when I was writing and I'm thinking, oh my God, I can't write that. And then I was like, no, I've got to let my inner child.
Wow.
And I remember when I first published the book and I was like, am I really giving this to people to read?
Yeah.
You know, but then I've had so many people just tell me I'd love the authenticity of it, and you know, it's so raw, and because I didn't filter it, I just let my inner child be free. So then I had to write part 2 after I wrote the book in 2011, because that poem was written before I did any paintings, I did any art, I did any books or poetry. So that was before I let her free.
Okay.
So then in 2011, I had to write part 2. Do you want to hear it?
Go ahead. Part 2 in a rubber dub style.
My inner child is wild and free. She has no boundaries. When I decided to set her free, I knew it would cost me my privacy and anyone who has anything to do with me. So if that's you, I'm sorry. She sits in the seat of my subconscious mind, observing all I'm doing. Then she turns my experiences into a song, story, or poem. And she's left me, the adult, to deal with all the drama she creates. She doesn't know where to draw the line. I know I should be embarrassed, but to be honest, all I keep seeing are pound signs.
Go on.
I actually posted that on Instagram this morning with my painting of my inner child.
Yeah.
So my Instagram is Cezanne, CEZANNE _JOAS for Journey of a Sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one. Part 2. Is there going to be a part 3? Maybe? Is there?
No, she's free, man.
She's free.
She's just...
Yeah.
That's
Inner
it.
child's going to
Oh, there was a part there that I
maturity.
forgot. She says, now, thanks to her, my life is an open book. Go on, open it, take a look. But,
this is your life, right here.
well,
This is your life.
Some parts of it are quite autobiographical, but it's also,
So, where now? Where to for Cezanne the Poetess?
For 2018, I have decided to focus on me because this year I've done a lot of helping other people. Like I've helped 5 people publish their books. I'm still working on one right now before I leave for Gambia next week. And I also brought over 2 authors from America, helped them get their book known over here. So next year, I've decided I'm going to focus on really getting this book out in a big way. So I'm doing a PR campaign. So if anybody wants to interview me, radio, TV, newspaper, magazine.
I'm an agent.
Yeah, you can be my agent. This book has got to get out to all the people who need it. Okay, so I have people buying 2 free copies for their friends, and I've not had one bad review on this book. So really, I really just want to get this book out in a big way next year. And my ultimate goal for this book is to have it turned into a film.
Okay.
So
who's going to play you? I mean, Cezanne.
Exactly.
Who's going to play Cezanne?
A younger version, yeah. I have someone in mind actually.
Yeah.
But then again, that's all going to be done professionally.
Yeah, of course.
So this book is going to be made into a film. Sometimes when I was writing this book, some nights I would wake up in the middle of the night because I channeled about 46,000 words of this book, which literally means that it just came through me. And some nights I would wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and it was like I could just see the whole scene in front of me and all I had to do was write what I was... So some of the scenes are so vivid, like people say they can see it easily being made into a film.
Go on.
And what's the other thing that I wanted to do for next year? Well, I've got the self-love retreat that we've started, so taking small groups of women. The first one is in December. We've got December, January, February, March.
Gambia?
In the Gambia, we're going to be. So journeyofassister.com for info on that. And
that's only for sisters, though, isn't it?
And their partners. And their partners. But you can come. You can be my partner. And then I'm writing my next book.
Okay.
So Gambia. I'm also going to be on a writer's retreat. So by the time I come back, my next book should be written.
So how long are you going to Gambia for?
Well, I'm not due to come back till mid-March.
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait. So big things.
I'm trying to avoid winter.
Okay. What's it like over there, Gambia?
This is going to be my first time going.
Where did you go last time?
Ghana.
You went somewhere. Ghana.
Yeah,
okay.
I spent 4 months in Ghana. Yeah.
Yeah. How was that?
It was nice. It was hot.
Yeah.
It was nice. The weather was perfect. And then I enjoyed being by the beach because I spent quite a bit of time at a resort by the beach and just being able to get up 6 o'clock in the morning, stroll onto the beach, watch the sunrise, watch the sunset and hearing the waves from my bedroom. That was, to me, that was like being in heaven. That was the closest thing to heaven for me. I love being in nature.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Are you a vegan?
Kinda.
Kind of vegan.
I'm going to be a vegan in Gambia because where we're staying, the Healthy Ways Foundation, my mentors are vegans.
They're vegans.
Yeah, so I'm working towards...
But you're, what, vegetarian?
Yeah.
Or pescatarian or whatever.
Whatever, yeah. But I'm not even a strict vegetarian because occasionally I'll eat some fish or whatever.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I concur.
I concur.
Okay, so lastly, where can people, if you can give your links again, and
Yeah, you can
where they can get the book?
me,
Can they get it online?
Yeah, journeyofassister.com. Yeah, these limited edition copies, I printed 1,000 of them. I've got about 100 left, just 100 or 150.
Wow.
I'd love to sell them all before I go to Gambia.
Okay.
They're only $9.99,
That's
and
right.
if you're in the UK, it's free delivery. So go and get your copy. Get one for your friend as well. Christmas and Kwanzaa are coming up,
There you go.
so
And it's good quality. Look at that.
yeah,
Pages
I was
feel
even going to put
wonderful.
the price up because I think I'm selling them too cheap. But I just want to sell them all off. So
£10, you say?
yeah, and once they're gone, they're gone. I'm not
Yeah.
there's not going to be any more
No
colour
reprint.
ones. No, you'll be able to get them in black and white.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So limited edition ones are almost finished, and that's it.
Okay.
And done.
Any last things that you would like to say?
Yeah, I'd like to say
before?
thank you for having me today. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
It was the universe. You know, we kept
yeah, it was
bumping into.
destined to be.
It was God speaking. Said you better interview that sister. You know, don't let me have to tear down some rock pan behind. No, but I see you doing enough work. You know, sister.
Yeah.
Enough good work. So. You know,
And my work is all around helping. My slogan is, well, I have two. One of them is, as I heal myself, I heal others. Because I don't consider that, I'm not trying to say to people, you need to be where I am. I think we're all on that journey of self-healing, self-discovery, and it's about building sustainable black relationships. That's the work. But there's a lot of healing that needs to be done first.
Boy.
So that's the work that I'm doing here.
And this book can help with that. healing
Definitely, definitely. There's some things in there which I channeled, which I don't take credit for. There's a lot of ancient wisdom in that book, you know. And then there's lots of information that people didn't know anything about, like, for instance, the creative power of the woman's womb. Like, people didn't know that it's actually a portal. Like, babies are spiritual beings that come from the non-physical dimension through the woman into this physical world.
Wow.
But I channeled this scene, it was in year 8, where the couple performed their first sex ritual. And I thought it was something I made up. I woke up in the middle of the night, wrote this scene, went back to sleep, and didn't even remember writing it the following morning. So it was only a few days later, I'm flipping through my notebook and I see this thing and I'm thinking, oh my God, this is really good. I need to include it in the story. Now, when I published the book, and I, was searching for it on Amazon, Single, Spiritual and Sexual, as it was titled at the time, another book came up beside it called The Secret Science of Black Male and Female Sex. And I was like, what's that about? And I ordered it, and it was literally explaining the whole science behind this ritual that I had written about, that I channeled. And so I did more research on it and found out this is a real thing. So the black man and woman actually were really powerful together, that we can use these rituals to create anything, not just babies. And that's the whole thing with religion, why they're trying to suppress our sexual energy all the time, because that's where our power lies.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So there's a lot of information in there, and there's a lot that we need to do in terms of remembering who we are. Because we, in the school system, the education system, from the media, we don't see true, and positive images of ourselves. So we have to find out this information for ourselves, who we truly are as gods and goddesses walking the earth.
Good. Go on, Chu.
And our power, where our power lies.
Get the book. It's all in here, people. Get the book.
No, seriously,
Yeah.
you need to get the book.
Get the book. Well, thank you for coming down, Sister Cezanne. How do you say it?
Taharqa.
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 Taharqa, you can't talk. She can't talk.
Taharqa. She can talk us.
Yes.
She can
Can't
talk.
talk a good talk. So thanks for coming down and sharing your journey of a sister with us. God willing, you will sell the rest of your books before you go. I know she's going to sell them before she goes.
Oh, and don't forget, I'm going to be, if you're in London, I'm going to be at Katakata, 132 Brixton Hill, Sunday, the 26th of November. So
That's this Sunday, isn't it?
This Sunday coming,
This
isn't
Sunday.
it? Yeah, so from 2 till 6, I will be there. And come and get your books, come and get your artwork. And I've also got the originals on display. So just come and enjoy my leaving do, because I'm going to Gambia next week and I won't be back until next March.
Don't worry, we'll keep the country safe till you come.
You're
back.
going to come, aren't you? You're
Yeah.
going to come to Gambia.
I'm coming to Gambia. We're going to Ghana and come to Gambia.
Yeah, that's a good way to end it.
Well, thank you, sister. It's all
Thank
good. It's all love.